Good morning and welcome back to the Opportunistic Trader for November 2nd, a Friday, non-farm day, Apple earning day. Markets are higher off of Trump's pretend deal 2 days before the election, 2 trading days before the election. Don't think there's anything coming from that of substance, but market is higher. I don't think I'd ever would see Apple down 7 or 6% and the market higher and NASDAQ flat. So it's pretty amazing. We got caught yesterday in a position that we got stopped out of, but we're going to stop back into the short side once the number parses out. And overall, long crude, not well, should be about $3 higher than it is. I don't know. I guess this was part of the Trump rig, get oil down, get the market up, try to get, the election swung his way. He's going to lose at least one, if not both. It's going to create a very bad stigma in Washington going forward. But again, we're focused on the number today. We're looking for about 200. We've been looking for 200 for the last 10 years. I guess the number they're concerned with is the wage number, which they're looking at 0.2 increase. I don't think the number really means much, but they'll say if it's weak, it's weather related, and if it's too strong, they'll come up with something. So overall, it's not really number related. Today is about whether or not the market could hold up. The market has rallied 50% off. Retraced about 50% of the down move, all in 3 days, basically since Monday. We'll see. We'll see after the number. The number's coming in 1 minute. I'm joined by Vince and Mike.
Larry, before the number comes out, Goldman Sachs. Oh, never mind. It's over. Number's out.
No, the number's not out.
Okay, Goldman Sachs. We have to make non-farm payrolls.
It just came in at 250, so better than expected. Number just came in at 250. They're expecting 200,000. The unemployment rate 3.7. They were expecting 3.7, and the
should be bearish.
Well, I'm looking at the 10-year reaction. The 10-year was trading 118.11.5. Now we're trading 118.08, so down a few ticks. Dollar is a few pips stronger. Really a smaller reaction. I'm the average hourly.
The
1% one thing I was actually going to jump in with, Tracy just posted in the chat right before, about 7 minutes ago, the S&P dropped about 10 handles, and that was on a report from CNBC. Eamon Javers saying, senior administration official tells me that the report President Trump is ready to cut a trade deal with China is not true. There's a long way to go on negotiations, the official said.
There you go.
And so that was kind of the S&P drop of 8 or 9 points. But right, we have, rallied back a little bit, 27.58 right now in the S&P. The average hourly earnings came in at 0.2. They were expecting 0.2. So it looks like, like we were saying, 250 isn't going to do a whole lot to kind of change the mantra of Fed expected to raise rates in December. So right now, S&P is trading 58, where it roughly was before the number came out. 10 years trading down 3 ticks. The bond itself is down 14 on the day, but it was down about 10 before, so really not much of there. So, Larry, I'll let you.
Yeah, that's fine. I appreciate the help. And, the bottom line is there is no deal. You don't make a phone call to a guy who you've been wrecking their market, 27% on the year and say, hey, let's just cut a deal. we totally messed up your economy. We wrecked your market, and now let's just make a deal because I need a deal before the election or whatever. And there's no deal. I mean, listen, I'm smart enough to know in my over 50 years of wisdom in life that this doesn't make any sense. This is all Trump election related. There's a possibility he probably didn't even have a call. Who even knows if he talked to the guy? But the market.
Larry,
yes.
This is classic reading a floor trader. If you think about what we're doing here, all right, this is reading between the lines. Okay, Trump and the administration wanted to paint a better picture going into the election. They did so the last 2 days, overplayed their hand, right? Gunning for stops on the upside and the polls. And now they were called on it, and now the market's getting slammed lower. This is classic reading the other trader. And although we don't talk politics for politics' sake, we talk politics for how it affects the market and in between the lines, what is real and what is not. And that is the bottom line here. The GOP is trying to shore up their base and cut their losses, and at the same time create an alibi for if they lose the election and stocks do go back down, they're going to say, well, you didn't vote for us. It's your fault.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what's going on here. It's actually to me, it's an amazing day because, Apple had, their earnings were good, but basically they've said, we're not telling you guys anything about our company going forward. We're not giving you anything. We're not giving you sales of this or, pre-channel checks of this. We're not doing any of this. Okay, we're done. So I don't know how it's investable because you're not going to really know where they stand until it's, too late. So I think it's a big sea change. I don't know why they're doing it. I mean, I do know why. They don't want to be held to the fire every month or every quarter. But it's something that should definitely be looked into. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on Apple.
I have a comment on Apple for you. And it's not my comment. It's from someone that I recommend we follow because they say the same things we do in different ways. There's a company called Nanex that I actually collaborated with on manipulation cases and spoofing cases, and I use them for research. But I'm not talking about them for this moment. I'm talking about HFT alert. All right, listen to this. Someone always knows is the headline. Here's a summary of the Apple MP accumulator. That's some proprietary thing they have, which showed 2 massive declines, indicating they were selling into the highs above 226 in early October. And again, a huge decline in accumulator. He's basically saying it's an HFT monitor. Basically says someone always knows, and the market was being front run. I think Apple. Everyone knows what's going on with Apple, with the fact that they don't really have any growth prospects. But I want to give a personal comment about where Apple's growth is going to come from based on the iPhone 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever. It's going to come from cables, guys. They changed their technology in the last OS 12 so that you can't use any third-party cable to plug in your phone unless it's MFI certified. MFI means that Apple gets a piece of whatever they make. My point is they're looking to make money off of ancillary products more because innovation is less. Be aware of that.
Okay. I don't,
Does it mean anything for active trading today? No, I'm just saying that, Apple's not a FANG stock. It's a big company that's trying to increase revenues, but profit margins because it has really no growth. It's not a negative on the company. It just shouldn't be priced as a tech stock.
Okay. What is it? A utility? It probably is.
You know what? That is funny because somebody said to me yesterday, I think Apple is going to enter into a contract with the United States government where the United States government will buy 1 billion iWatches, making Apple a utility. So there you go. It is really, it's a big cap stock. They have so much positive cash flow. They're IBM. That's what they are. They're what IBM used to be.
It doesn't bode well for them in the future.
I know. We'll see how this Apple TV thing goes, and then we'll determine if they're really growth side. I mean, well, trade accordingly. That's basically it.
Just a little update, following the numbers. So, we reported the numbers. 250 is what they came up with. Expected 200. Pretty solid number, but we were expecting a solid number. Unemployment rate 3.7%, but the reaction very, very muted. 10 years down 2 ticks. The bond is, down 2 ticks from basically where it came in. So the bond's down 12 in the day. The 10 years down 9.5, which is roughly where we were before. I think, like we were just saying before, the bigger focus is really going to be heading into the weekend is these China-U.S. Sort of talks. And then, Apple right now is trading back down a little bit. It's at 208.50, down to 13.5. U.S. yield, so the 10-year yield is at 316. The 2-year yield's at 288. The 30 years at 339. So, these non-farm payrolls for the past 3 or 4 months now, the volatility on them has been near zero. This used to be an event that would move the dollar 1% and, bonds up over a point. We're just at a point right now where we kind of know where the Fed's path is. And, we also know, like Larry mentioned sarcastically, that we've been expecting 200,000 for the past 10 years. It has been a good year that we've been expecting roughly 200,000, give or take 40,000 on either side.
Mike, I was not being facetious. That is actually, I got corroboration from a lot of people that I speak to on a daily basis. This number has been plus 200 every month for the last 8 to 10 years. There has never been a negative. There has never been, maybe they look for 150, maybe I'm off by 50, but the number has always been plus 200 every month, plus or minus 100. And that has been for 10 straight years, almost since 2009. So 9 years. And it actually, I'd like to run this, other than weather related, we haven't had a negative non-farm job number since 2008 or 2009.
And they put Bernie Madoff in jail for consistency.
But I'm just saying, and that is true. I don't think we've had a negative number. If we did, it might be one for weather or some kind of adjustment, and it was adjusted up. But we haven't had a negative non-farm payroll since 2009. And the unemployment rate has gone from over 10% to today at, what did you say, 3.7?
Yeah, last time was 3.7. This one's staying at 3.7.
Right. So it's unbelievable. I don't know how they're going to keep. This is like the Joe DiMaggio hitting streak. It's got to beat. It's actually the only thing that's ever come up and beat the streak. So
Right. We would have to let immigrants in to employ people because everyone clearly is employed now.
Sarcasm. Oh, without a doubt.
Sarcasm.
Hey, Larry, so you put in the chat that you are looking to sell at 49 on a stop in the S&P. What's your thought process there?
Just, I want to be short here. It's just the traders run away from us. So we covered for a loss. It's angering because, last night after Apple's earnings, the market traded down like 12, looked really negative. And then I got to tell you, I'd like to meet the person that comes up with these stories and these things, because literally I happened to be watching the market last night and the move up happened at like 12:48 if you look at a chart, and the market went from down 9 handles to literally up 15 handles in 3 minutes. And I'm like looking around and nothing is even coming out. And then like later on, 4 hours later, they're like, they're going to do a trade deal. I mean, okay, whatever. So, it's very, the tape is very tough. The market is a screaming short. Okay. It's being held up, into the election. I don't think it holds today. So I want to be back in it. I just want to see it give up a little bit more and then sell there and maybe sell again, because even what you said before, that CNBC Eamon Javers is, stating they don't have a deal. You don't go from wrecking someone, not talking to them, not set up to talk to them at the G20, to having the greatest phone call ever, and then a day later having a trade deal.
Oh, look,
Okay.
we know that the midterms are on Tuesday, and that's everything for the past week. We've been saying it. It's all political. Everything, whether it be trade talk with China or talk with immigration, everything that's been coming out from both sides, Democrats, Republican, is calculated to try to, spin the media in, their direction. And, the president has the biggest pulpit of talking. And, this is a big thing right here. We saw a big bounce in soybeans yesterday. Over 3%. I think we're up about 5% since the news came out. That's an area, getting the farmers, things of that nature. I mean, there's a lot of
What do you mean? This is like a total rig. They brought the market back. They took oil down. They're bringing those products back. The funny thing is, he can't get a trade deal by Tuesday. I mean, whatever it is, it's a joke. It's not even real.
To the point.
He doesn't want a trade deal. He does not want a trade deal.
Right. Exactly, Larry. To that point, the last 2 days had been, hey, we might have a meeting. Hey, we're probably going to have a meeting. Hey, who knows? Something good could come of it. And then to say that we're going to have a trade deal is to overplay the hand, to gun for stops that aren't there. And, this was talked. I touched on this on the gold fix that whatever happens now, like I'm biased or leaning bullish going into the election because of everything you're saying. Fake or not, that we're trading against Trump's the trader that we're trading against. We don't have to apologize for talking.
Yeah, but he's not. But Vince, he's not winning. The only thing is,
Larry,
listen.
I'm saying as swing traders, we're trading against. We're trying to read in between.
I get that, but I'm just telling you. Okay, I was actually traveling last night, and I was on a plane, and I was watching TV, and I happened to have CNN on, and their headline is "Market crushed 6% last month." They're not running with that. The market's up 30 handles this month. They already got their head.
They're biased towards Democrats.
Right, I understand that, but I'm saying, but they have that. Trump can't change the headline in 2 days of what it is. He can't, he can't. The market is 6 or 5% off its all-time high.
But that's why it's funny. That's why it's funny. You're right. That's why it's funny, because the last 3 days, what has he been doing? He's now doing economic tweets because he can't change the headline. Watch the tweets, man. I mean, I'm looking for them to come out today. I'm just saying it's all there. You're right. I'm trading the tape, and Trump is the tape. If it's not a dirty word to talk politics as we are, because we're talking about how politicians and their words and their rhetoric affect the market, even when it shouldn't. We're not the sheep. We are making money off.
But here's the thing, okay? And this is what I'm sitting here and I'm actually scratching my head literally, and I just don't understand, okay, how Apple, which is the bellwether stock, you would agree that Apple is the bellwether stock.
There's nothing left. There's nothing left except Apple. Yes.
Right. So that's the bellwether stock, okay? And the bottom line is that bellwether stock is literally, it's crushed, correct?
Yes.
So how, if that's the bellwether, and that's the market barometer that everybody...
How are we higher?
It's down 7%. It's not down a little.
No, what I'm saying is, if Apple's the bellwether stock, how are we higher now? If NASDAQ isn't up and Apple's not up, what are people buying? That's a genuine question.
Well, listen to me, but this is what it is, okay? So I'm going to give you what I think was the trade setup, and I think it's important for people to understand this.
That's what I'm asking.
Okay?
What is going on?
The trade setup was this, okay? The S&P rallied fakely into the close yesterday. There was buying all afternoon of cash, whatever. They didn't have any volume. They were able to punch it up, okay? Then Apple came out with a number, and then they didn't like the guidance, and they didn't like the fact that Apple is never giving guidance again as a company, which is shocking, okay? So, which is really shocking. It's a disrespect to the shareholders, but whatever. So they're not giving guidance, and they don't want to live by the quarterly mantra, like
well, that's
giving
what
out.
You do when you have something, when you're not growing anymore.
Okay, so the stock trades down 7%.
Right.
NASDAQ futures opened down 100 and something points. Okay.
Okay.
They're down 100 and something points. And the S&P opened down 12 or 13 or whatever it was. Okay. Everybody's looking at it and they're like, how could the market only be, literally I got calls from people, how could the market be higher day over day with Apple down 7%?
Right.
So
which is the question of the week, right?
Right.
That's the
so
question.
then Apple starts to even go lower. So people are selling S&Ps and selling NASDAQ and saying this doesn't make any sense. The market should be lower. So now you have all these shorts that are looking at it as a trade. The market's A, overbought. B, Apple had terrible numbers. They were claiming that Apple was the reason the market was holding in. And then you get all these shorts and then they get a fake comment, which no one even knows where it's coming from. Okay. I don't even know where it's coming from.
No, they're putting out White House reports without Trump's name on it now. That's where the stuff is coming from on the trade side. That's what they're doing.
Okay. Because what I was going to say to you is it just doesn't seem to make any sense. But listen, you can't, I mean, they want to buy the market with both hands. I don't know how you're buying S&Ps at this price on a Friday. It's up literally 160 handles since Monday.
Larry, I want you to help me here, okay? Pivot back to this. I'm a trader who only trades stock. I'm a hedge fund that is a long short US stockholder. When I'm bullish the market, I buy Netflix and sell Apple. Hear me out. When I'm bearish the market, I sell Netflix and buy Apple. How can the market continually rally if Apple is not leading? And how can the market sell off if Apple is not holding up? Which is your point. So what is holding the market up if these stocks, high flyers and bellwethers, aren't showing it? What, are we all buying utilities now? I don't get it.
No, they're buying high flyers. They're just like today, they're just buying stocks you can't see. You know, you can't see it today. You can't see what they're buying. I mean, they're buying, financials or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, listen, if the market doesn't hold today, it's going to get really interesting because you got basically 1 to 2 max trading days before the election. And it's funny, I did a Wall Street Journal piece yesterday and they wanted to talk volatility and all of this other stuff. And I said to them, really, they're like, is Apple gonna, I said, Apple, I actually said facetiously, Apple could be down 10, which I thought was a lot, but it's down a lot more than that. and the market could be up. And I was just saying it facetiously. And, it actually happened. And that's the crazy thing. I think the true catalyst here, okay, is the election. Okay. And, everyone's like, oh, well, he's going to win the Republicans are going to win one and the Democrats are going to win one. And, the bottom line is if they lose one, they lose it all. It doesn't matter. They can't do anything. They can't do anything unless Trump tries to pull his crazy immigration thing where he's going to use executive privilege or whatever, which obviously he can't do. But what I'm saying is overall, for the market, it's a pure negative. Okay.
Right. As misplaced as the logic is, hedge fund managers, I believe, in some institutional money, I believe, are looking at the election, had been looking at the election saying the GOP is going to lose, and that's bearish for stocks because of gridlock. Okay. And now you've got the last 2-3 days with a big push on the marketing side to by Trump and by the administration to show that we're going to fix the trade, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And so now hedge fund managers that are on the fence buy going into this. And so after the election, if the GOP does pull off an upset, that's what it is. It would be an upset. Then stocks continue higher, so they need to be in it. If the GOP loses, they're going to hit the sell button as soon as they can. The question is, how much slower before they actually get to the button?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's already pretty much. I mean, if you I mean, I don't think they were winning both. So the bottom line is, everyone kind of knows what it's going to be. It doesn't matter if the Democrats win both or win one; it's the same outcome.
Right.
No,
I understand. I agree with you. So,
I think that. So right now, if I can just jump in, I've read some bank research from Deutsche, from Credit Suisse. It sounds like market expectation is that the Democrats are expected to take the House. If the Republicans were to take the House, I think that would lead to a pretty big relief rally, as they would retain both the Senate and the House. And I think that if the Democrats were to pull off a big shock and take the Senate, that would cause the Democrats to have both of those. I think that would probably be seen as risk negative for the markets.
I agree. I actually looked at Pence's campaign schedule for the next 3 days, and it had dropped substantially in areas for campaigning for House seats. I believe the GOP has thrown in the towel in the House and is throwing their money at the Senate. And I believe that consensus is consistent with what I've seen independently. So
Pence, I haven't seen Pence since the election night.
I understand that. But he has a schedule, and that's a conference call, speaking on a video prompter. I looked at it, and he went from going to House, speaking at House states or House elections, to speaking almost only at Senate. I think the schedule for me was the political tape that tells me the stock tape. Right? They've thrown in the towel in the House, is what I'm saying. And if they win the House, that's a miracle. But they're definitely throwing their money and throwing their ad campaigns, and probably Pence is doing advertisements for Senate backing. So what Mike said, I think, is borne out in what I've been seeing by looking at campaign schedules as well as stock market movement.
I agree.
And we'll hear a lot more over the weekend. The weekend press is going to be going 24/7 with all the breaking news and all the voter here there. It's funny. I already voted early voting. I can't believe more people don't early vote. I mean, the day of voting.
What do you mean? How do you vote? Where are you going to? Is there places open now?
Gosh, Larry, this is, in the state of Florida specifically, you could have gone anytime in the last 2 weeks to any of the polling locations. Basically, like I went last weekend, 0 line, went right in and out in 1 minute. If you go to the day of, you're going to have like hour-long lines.
But there's no polling. My polling station is actually where I live in my community, and it's not set up. I drove by it yesterday.
Right. No, about half of them are set up, about half of them.
Okay, half.
I mean, you have to look for it. Larry, it's actually significant.
But there's not going to be
phenomena in Texas. You had I think 400,000 people vote early already that have, quote, never voted before. That's a slam on Democrats. And California's in second place with 70 or 80,000 people that have never voted before already voting early.
What I don't know. What I don't understand is this is not a presidential election. I voted for the presidential election, and there wasn't really even a line. This is a midterm election. How are they going to be? There's not going to be lines at every polling station. I mean, this is a midterm. You're voting, you're not voting for the president. So, I mean, I get it, but I don't expect, lines around the corner to vote in a midterm election. I've done it. No doubt,
but when you look at how controversial and how aggressive the administration has been in continuing to polarize, midterms, I think, are increasingly becoming a referendum on his agenda. And by that, I mean, like you said, GOP loses everything. It's gridlock for 2 years. So it's something to talk about, but it's actually legitimate, because why else would Trump be talking about it so much?
But even if he loses one, it's gridlock. It's done.
But I'm not.
I'm just saying.
I said nothing to disagree with that, Larry.
No, I know. I'm just saying. So it's. I don't know. Listen.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. They're going to lose the House. Okay. I'm going to make a call here. All right. I'm watching the tape, and the tape is a person across from me in the pit, and that person is Trump. And I'm seeing a guy who's going to lose the House. Okay, he's going to try and hold the Senate. And if the stock market rallies going into the election and sells off after the election, that guy across from the pit is going to turn to his right and say, it's his fault we sold off because you didn't trade with me. It's all there. The alibi is there.
Well, sure. He's been saying that it's the FOMC's fault when we're down, and remember he put out the credit analyst that said, "Hey, if the Fed just stops hiking, then hey, S&P will be back at the all-time high." So it's the FOMC's fault.
Mike, you're right. Correct. Yesterday, however, to add to the scapegoat list, he said, I mean, it was basically, I swear it was like, if you vote for Republicans, the stock market will continue to rally. If you vote for Democrats, it will not. I'm almost quoting a tweet.
Did say that. Yeah, he did say that. But hey, on the markets here, let me just give a market update. So S&P's up 18 here. We're 2757, 2756.5. Nasdaq's down 5 here. VIX is trading 1843. The low and overnight was 1805 in the VIX. The 10-year is exactly where it was before the maybe a tick below where it was when the non-farm came out. We're trading at 118.09.5, down 9. The bond's down 11. Gold down 6.5. So the range in gold, we're trading 32 or 31.70 is the low. So we're near the low. Down $6. Nothing there. Crude's down 30 cents. The range.
Let's talk about crude for a minute. Okay, because nobody's really.
Before we get into that, we have Phil Flynn coming on at 9:30, and he'll add more.
Oh no! I hope Phil's okay.
Phil's been bullish for about 3 or 4 or 5 months, so he's ridden it up and ridden it all the way back down.
It's actually lower than where it was 3 months ago, or even 4 months ago. It's actually broken. It's actually an amazing thing because I was looking last night. It is only up about 13 or 12% for the year, and it's about 18 or 17% off the high. So we've retraced off the high almost 70% of the up, 60-ish% of the up move. It's actually pretty amazing. No one's really even talking about it. But
crude oil, up 9% year to date. At one point, it was up over 25%.
No, it was up. I'll tell you exactly what it was up. It was up. It's up. You have it up 9. It must be
8.9. But yeah, it's
the contract. It's up about 12%.
No, I'm sorry. I was looking at Brent. WTI is up 5%. WTI is up 5% year to date.
Larry, if you pivot to your text, I just sent you a quick recap of oil for the month, as well as some levels that are being looked at from technicians.
I mean, come on. I mean, this is like so literally. When did it make the high? It made the high less than a month ago, or a month and a half. It was trading 77. Now it's trading 63. No bid. This
is going to be the 5th, I believe. I believe the 5th consecutive down week.
I think it's more. I think he might have snuck one up weekend, but it's like 10 down weeks in a row. The market is down.
This is actually the 4th down week. So this is the 4th consecutive down week. That prior week was actually an up week when we traded. We actually closed about $75. Yeah. And we were trading 77 the week of October 1st. We are trading 63.42 right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. No bid. But that's what Trump wants. Trump is trying to manipulate all markets, but we'll see. We'll see how it all.
Are you where you initially put on the long right here? You put it on at 63.50. We're 5 cents below that right now.
I'm trying to sit in it. I think the market's oversold. It should bounce $2. But it won't probably be on. Maybe we get a little bit lucky and it'll be before the today or Monday, but after that's all over, it's done. I mean, this guy's been walking it down. It's funny. They don't understand. Like it's funny. Like you had presidents like every other president, Obama or whatever. They're not looking. Trump's like a day trader. He literally is. He's running around the White House. He's like, I want oil down. It's got to go down today. I want the market up. I mean.
for president to start putting his hopes on the stock market as opposed to the economy.
Well, that's gonna listen.
Embraces volatility.
He's got another 2 years left. Okay, if he doesn't get reelected, and if we're kind of flat this year. Last year we were up 20. Now you're only up 10. Okay, over 2 years, and let's say the down year is coming this year or in 2019. Now all of a sudden you're only up 14 or 12 or even worse. You're 3 years into your presidency and you're averaging 4% a year. It's the worst market in
5 presidents.
Yeah, pretty much. Other than Bush,
Hey,
Bush too.
Just to pivot back to oil for a second, just from Tracy. She weighed in on your comment about oil, and I think she's agreeing about the whole elections and policies not helping oil. She said, honestly, still think that we won't have a meaningful rally until after midterms. That said, I don't see it much lower than $1 or $2. That's a big picture comment. But short term, today is Friday, and Friday follies is what I call it when I'm not using profanity. Friday does tend to be bullish, or at least a reversal of the weekly trend. $1 or $2. In other words, it seems to be short-term basing here for a possible rally. But the word on the street is that big funds are buying call spreads in Brent right now in anticipation of a post-midterm bounce. And
I think today's interesting. Like looking at Apple, and the market's holding up. Apple's not holding up. Potentially, if the market doesn't hold up, which is what I'm thinking, Apple could be down a lot more. I mean, Apple could get down. It's still not through the low it made on Monday, believe it or not. I know everyone out there is like, oh my God, it's down 14, but it made a low of 206 on Monday. And 206 is about the $1 trillion level. So, right. It's going to test that, I would assume. And if the market gets weak, they're gonna come out of this thing. And how funny would it be if Buffett sold his position or part of his position? I would actually say that I would bow. Not that he's not the greatest of all time, but that would be the.
Didn't Einhorn sell some Apple? I say that because Einhorn is a junior tracker of Buffett. They're fast friends.
Well, so, I got actually a call yesterday that Einhorn is shutting his fund. That I don't know if that's factual, but he's down 27%. He's no Buffett. He's down 26 or something.
Buffett's not short. He's not short Amazon. Buffett's not short Amazon and Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Einhorn's a short specialist. I mean,
I understand that, but he has.
Buffett hasn't shorted a stock in his life.
When he started his career, he was down the hall from me at Spear Leeds in a little office at Greenlight Capital, and he and his wife were fast friends with the Buffett family. I'm not saying that he mirrors Buffett, but I am saying that his longs are very similar to Buffett. He's gotten hammered because of shorts and being long gold. So if he's selling Apple,
I don't like. I got to tell you what, I don't like the tape today. We could have a major failure. I don't understand. I got to tell you, the computers over the last 7-10 years, they've done things that are unbelievable. But like today, how like you have like the check marks where you remember like stuff. This is just amazing. It's an amazing thing. You have the largest cap stock almost by double any other stock. I mean, Microsoft is like, I think 700 or 800 or maybe a little less. Amazon 700. This thing is a third bigger than any other stock in the world. It's down huge, and after the market ran for days and days and days, the market's still running, and it's down 7%. It's shocking.
Well, even just to follow up on that, Tony Greer was on with us both Monday and Wednesday, and he might come on later in the afternoon. But, his one comment is everybody's looking forward to Apple as a main event for the week. And he would continue to say that if Apple misses, which he wasn't so sure it would, but if it did, that would crater the market. And I think that was a lot of people's expectation was, hey, if Apple goes down, it's the market's going to get crushed. And so, this sort of Apple down, market up. I'm just even speaking.
Yeah, but you want to know. But you want to know something, Mike? If this number came out on Monday, the market would be trading at 2,500.
Well, that's exactly what Tony was saying.
It's all sentiment. It's all mania. It's. I mean, come on. Listen. There's no trade deal.
Well, I think it goes back to what you talked to the Wall Street Journal about yesterday. You told me that you made a comment to the Wall Street Journal when you were speaking to them that you said the number one catalyst is the election. It's not the individual names. And
I understand, but listen, I'm sitting here, and again, I'm I'm not an expert like these guys that come on TV about polling and this and that.
By the way, we're trading 49. What? You're close to getting stopped in. We're trading 49.5, and you did.
Okay,
you got
good.
Here. You sold
okay, good. 49. All right, so we're back in it. We're going to add to that stop unchanged on the day. But can I tell you something? The upsetting thought about this is we're all talking, and I'm not an expert, but it's pretty much, as you said, in the cards that they're not going to have control. So if they lose control, it doesn't matter if they lose 1 or 2. What does it matter? They're not going to get anything done. If they lose 2 or 1, it's irrelevant. Doesn't matter. Okay? So none of the policies are going to be passed that he has going forward because everything that was passed by 1 or 2 votes. Not going to have those 1 or 2 votes. So my question to you is, he's not winning votes, so what does it matter? Like, that's what I'm saying. He's not winning. They're not winning. So it's surprising to me. I mean, Apple should trade below 206 here on the opening. But, we'll have to see. Oil looks like it took a leg lower here. Dude, if the spool goes down 3, oil goes down $1.50. It's like I've never seen anything crater the way this oil is cratered. I mean, it's down. What percentage is 77 down to 63? Can you do that? What is it, 20-something%?
Yeah. I'm just sending the text message to everybody right now.
15 over 80. So 8 into 15, almost 20%. So 18 and 20% off the top of my head.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. Crazy down move. But
I think it'll be an interesting day. So just go over the schedule. We're obviously on election alert. We're on Apple alert and Trump tweet alert. But on top of that, 9:30, we're going to have Phil Flynn talk to us about the energy market. We'll definitely ask him about crude. He's been bullish for the past few months as we've been on with him. And that was working out well for a time. But we'll definitely get them on that. Next up at 10 a.m.
That's actually fun.
Basically,
it was working out.
We're going to hold him accountable. We want to hear a little bit about more recently this how he's been doing in this 20% here. So we fill at 9:30. Alan.
It's actually funny. Anyway.
With Alan Hill at 10 a.m., who's going to be talking about Brexit and the FX markets. There's been a lot going on with that, as a matter of fact. This week, we traded below 127 there. And another person we need to hold accountable. He's been bearish, the pound, but he's been bearish since above 130. But it did trade 126.90, and here we are at 130. Then we have 11 a.m. with Ed Meir, who's been on top of the macro and metal markets for us. And then, like I said, Tony Greer is going to be coming on in the afternoon. Might have Mark Fisher on in the afternoon. Larry will be coming back throughout the day. Right now, we have the S&P trading 27.48 1/4. I think it's really important to see the price action into the end of the week, with all this volatility and with the elections coming up.
What are they going to say? Listen, there is, again, they're telling you, this is what's funny about the tape. They literally are telling you out of the White House, basically, there is no trade deal, and they don't know what's going on with the trade talks, and the market doesn't sell off. It's like it's crazy.
Nobody's expecting a trade deal over the weekend or overnight. It's the what's really moved us higher is the positive rhetoric that there might be one. And
that he had it went from 2 days ago. He had a phone call. It didn't move the market enough, so now they're coming out with
a really good phone call.
Right, that he wants a trade deal. I mean, I don't know. I'm telling you, and this is just my opinion. I'm telling you that the day after the election, he's putting $250 billion more on these guys. Okay, he's not doing a trade deal. He, a week and a half ago, wasn't it that they came out with that fake thing that we were talking about The next 250, remember we sold off? That was when we made the lows, right?
Yeah, there's 250 after 250 after 250 beyond possible numbers.
Right. So what I'm saying is, well, that's when we made the lows that day. There might have been Monday or Friday of last week where they came out with a thing that the White House said they're going to do another 250. So I don't get it. I don't know how anyone can believe anything. This trade situation is bad. It's really bad. China on a bounce is still down over 20 for the year. On a bounce of 5 or 7%, still down over 20. So, we'll see how everything goes. I hope it's an active day. I'm expecting it to be very active today, but you never know. Apple being down $15 is okay. Let's go with this, and then we'll get everyone ready for trading. But let's just hypothetically say the market nothing was going on, and someone told you it's an earnings day and Apple is down 15. Okay, where would you say the SPOO would be down?
Yeah, a few percent, or not a few percent,
yeah.
But a 0.5% or percent.
Easy percent, easy.
Yeah.
The way we've been moving, easy a percent. So the funny thing is, it comes in higher, which makes no sense, gets everybody to short cover, and then we'll have to see. But anyway, it's 15 minutes to the opening. Everyone get ready for the opening. Should be a good trading day today. Keep an eye on Apple. Do think it's going to break 206. Keep an eye on that level. If it breaks that, that's around the $1 trillion level. Maybe a tad lower than that. Market should trade lower in Apple off of that. And then, we'll see, what the next fake headline is that can rile up the computers. Again, we're back short S&P. We're long crude. We're going to try to stay in this crude trade till after the election, for sure, unless it rallies a couple of bucks before. And, that's where we stand for the day. And we'll be back to you guys after the opening with, some more commentary.